In this session, you will learn about Python variables, constants, and their use cases. Okay, so Python variables. A variables is a named location used to store data in the memory. A variable is also known as identifiers and used to hold value. It is helpful to think of variables as a container that holds data that can be changed later in the program. Mnemonic variables are recommended to use in many programming language. A mnemonic variable is a variable name that can be easily remembered and associated. A variable refers to a memory address in which data is stored. For an example, let us just give you here number is equal to number 90. Here we have created a variable named number. We have assigned the value 10 to the variables. You can think of the variable as a bag to store books in it. And that book can be replaced at any time. Yeah, you can just replace it. So initially the value of number was 90. Later it was changed to 9.1. Kindly have a note, in Python, we don't actually assign values to the variable. Instead, Python gives the reference of the object, that is the value, to the variables. So in Python, we don't need to specify the type of the variable because Python is a type info language and smart enough to get variable type. It has a set of rules. The first one, a variable name must start with a letter A to Z or the underscore character. A variable name cannot start with a number 0 to 9. A variable name can only contain alphanumeric character and underscore. Variable names are case sensitive, so it is recommended to use lowercase letter for a variable name. Let us see some valid variable names here. A first name, last name, age, country, city, and see here we are having a reserved word if, but it was prefixed by a underscore. You can also make use of this as like inclusion of any underscore, previous or prefix or to suffix. And for your kind note, here we are having an invalid variable names by using the other symbols as like hyphen, at symbol, dollar symbol. So a digit as a first character. So these are all some of the invalid variables. We will use standard Python variable naming style which have been adopted by many Python developers. Python developers use snake case. Snake case is a variable naming convention. We use underscore character after each word for a variable containing more than one word. For an example, here previously we have just seen first name, whereas inclusion of an underscore, we can just make each word a variable containing that. So the example below is an example of standard naming of variables. Underscore is required when the variable name is more than one word. When we assign a certain data type to a variable, it is called a variable declaration. For instance, in the example, my first name is assigned to a variable first name. So the equal sign is an assignment operator. So assigning means storing data in the variable. The equal sign in Python is not equality as a mathematics. Let me just see how to assign values to variables in Python. Think of a variable as a name attached to a particular object. In Python, variables need not be declared or defined in advance, as in the case in many other programming languages. As you can see from the above example, you can use the assignment operator equal to assign a value to a variable. Let me just see by example, declaring and assigning values to a variable. And here see, first according to the example, first I have just initialized the value 90 to the number variable, and later it was changed to 9.1, and currently what it just shows is the recent declared. And second, an example is website is equal to ap3-solutions.com, and where website is my variable and ap3-solutions.com is an argument. And if you want to just see what is there in the variable is ap3-solutions.com. And as I have already said, Python is a type interrupt language, so you don't have to explicitly define the variable type. It automatically knows that ap3-solution is a string and the declares the website, the variable, as a string variable. Let me just see some more example. See, we can also take multiple arguments, and here we have passed 4 arguments have been passed, and see, hello, a comma, a word, and an exclamation. And if you want to define some more thing, see here, first name is equal to Ajanta. It is a string variable and it is declared to the first name. And the last name is Devi, country is India, and city is equal to Chennai. Let me just have the age is equal to 96, is married is equal to true. And we have also declared a list here. Okay, let me just give in a dictionary a personal information as first name, name, Ajanta, last name, and with some keys and values. Now, let me just print and also find the length of the variable declared to the exact above application. And see how I have to make it by using a length operator. Yeah, we would just discuss it later in detail when coming to the string manipulation session. Okay, here I just want to know the name, that is the variable name, and its length respectively. So here it is the result. The first name Ajanta, where its length is 7, and the last name is Devi, where the length is 4, and simultaneously we are having the some more variables and its values. Now, declaring multiple variables in one line using comma and semicolon. Using comma and semicolon. And see here we are having 3 variables A, B and C, and we are providing different data to it. Different data. So here see here A, which it just shows an integer 6, B it just shows a 9.3, it is a float type, and C it has a string variables. And simultaneously we can also just declare it and it was being executed. You can also execute by using that is declared by using a semicolon. See, A is equal to 1, B is equal to 2 and C is equal to 3 by separating it with a semicolon. And how to out it, that is print it out. So 1, 2, 3, and see here when you just make use of a set of options, you can also make use of this. And next, coming to this example, see here the same thing, multi variables. Okay, I'm just giving first name, last name, country, age, and is married, and all the things separated with the comma. And if we want to assign the multiple things, and here it is executed. Okay, now the other case, that is if we want to assign the same value to multiple variable at once. Yeah, we can also do this by providing the equal symbol. That is x is equal to y is equal to z equal to same. So on executing this, we just get the same value, that is the same value to multiple variables. Second program assigning the same string to all the three type variables, that is x, y and z. Okay, and here is one more example, that is p is equal to q is equal to r, which is equivalent to 300, assigning a value together, and you can also output it, that is printing the value also can be done together. Okay, let me just see the example 3, changing the value of the variables. See, you can also change the value initially, assigning as ap3-solutions.com the value to the string variable website. Okay, I just printed out by using the print function, and in between it is again the value has been changed to google.com. So here, see here on execution, both the things would be printed. So in the above program, we have assigned ap3-solution.com to the website variable initially, then the value is changed to google.com. Okay, now let me just see the next one. N is equal to 300 and print, I want to print the value of the variable n. Okay, and next again we can just make use of declaring, that is assigning a new value in between, that is in the mid of the session. So see here, firstly m is equal to n, where we already know n is equal to 300, and if we just get the value of n, so it just shows us the 300, and see m is equal to 1000. Even though we are just making the assigning of the value of n to that of m, now we are assigning a new value to that of m and printing it, and now we will just get n is equal to 300 and m is equal to 1000. Okay, next it just shows the cell number 16, which I'm just going to execute it. See here, declare and redeclare variables. M is equal to Python in fun, and next one m is equal to 10. Now let me just on execution, it just showed the value of m which is declared recently. That is, even though if it is redeclared, we would just get the recent value to be executed. Next comes the constant. And dear friends, a constant is a type of variables whose value cannot be changed. It is helpful to think of constants as container that hold information which cannot be changed later. You can think of constants as a bag of store, some books which cannot be replaced once placed inside the bag. Let me just have small assigning value to the constant in a Python. See, in Python, constants are usually declared and assigned in a module. So here the module is a new file containing variables or functions, etc. So which is imported to the main file. So inside the module, constants are written in all capital letters and underscores separating the words. Let me have a declaring and assigning values to a constant. And kindly have a note, in reality, we don't use constants in Python. Naming them in capital letter is a convention to separate them from variables. However, it does not. Okay. So see here. Okay, here is the value, and I'll just give you one more. Sorry, as on executing, it just scrolls down. And see here, when you just create this as an main dot, that is constants dot Python, and if you want to make this in a main.py, you have to make use of some set of programs where see, I'm just typing it here as like in a prompt. Okay. Dear friends, here it will just get error, but anyhow, I just explain what it is. See, in the above program, if we create a constant pi, that is constant.py module file with the cell 17 and 18, then we assign the constant value to pi and gravity. So pi is equal to 3.14 and gravity is equal to 9.8. After that, we create a main.py, that is main.py file, and import the constant by using the module. Okay, import the constants by using the module, and finally we print the constant value. Here it is not the exact prompt, so it just gets the error, but when you just make it in a command window, you would just receive it. So note it, really it won't use constant in Python, so naming them in all capital letters is a convention to separate them from variables. However, it does not. Okay, let me just see some more rules and naming conventions of variables and constants. I have already specified here below. Dear friends, have a look of it. The example you have seen so far have used short terse variable names like m and n, but variable name can be more verbose. So in fact, it usefully beneficial if they are, because it makes the purpose of the variable more evident at first glance. So let me just see, the first rules is constant and variable names should have a combination of letters in lowercase or uppercase, that is A to Z, or digits 0 to 9, or an underscore. For an example, here I have just given you a new small example: snake underscore case, macro underscore case, camel case, and cap words. And create a name that makes sense. For an example, vowel means more sense than V. A constant means more than that C. Or if you just want to make a count, it would be make more sense than just using C. So if you want to create a variable name having two words, use underscores to separate them. Here I have just given that as the rule 3, my name. So instead of that, you can just make use of my underscore name. For current salary, you can just use current underscore salary. If it is more than 2 or 3 words, you can also just separate it with inclusion of underscore. And next comes that use capital letter possible to declare a constant. Okay, anyhow, it is not in Python, but anyhow, when on declaring a constant, you can just make use of capital letters. And next comes that never use special symbol like exclamatory mark, @ symbol, hash symbol, dollar symbol, percentage, etc. And last but not least, don't start a variable name with a digit. Yeah, yesterday's session we have just seen this. Note, dear friends, one of the additional to Python 3 was useful for Unicode support, which allows for Unicode characters in a variable name as well. So you will learn about Unicode in great depth in coming future sessions also. Okay, now let me just see the examples of variable name further with a small example. See here I have just given name is equal to Bob, age is equal to 54, and one more variable which includes with underscore and a capital letters. Okay, and here simultaneously I'm just making it to print all together. And next comes, see here, you can just start the name of the variable with the number which is an invalid, even though you have just included this underscore. The starting name, variable name with an digit is invalid. And next, see here, I have just given the variable age in different forms. Age in small letter, and I have just given this variable age in different ways to just to show that variables which you are just declaring is a case sensitive. And added with that, here are some more level 1 and level 2 exercise on variables. So kindly spend some time and have some hands on. Okay,